an epidemic in America. You can find it in organizations of all sizes and types. It causes grown, eminently educated people to doodle like middle schoolers. It makes Thanksgiving Day turkey look like a mild sleep aid in comparison. That's right, I'm talking about meetings. It's estimated that the US economy every year loses $37 billion on unproductive meetings, and it gets more depressing. With a little basic math we all can do, all of us in this room, actually everyone in probably America, will waste 10% of their lives in meetings. It was so bad the other week. I was in a meeting where literally all I had left to do was consult with my friend on whether or not he should build a fallout shelter for an apocalyptic event. And trust me, that meeting was not about the zombie apocalypse. My name's Brent Stubbs. I'm a college administrator, and I want to let you in on a little secret. A lot of what's wrong in education today, especially higher education, is that it acts as the last legal hazing ritual. We had stuff done to us when we were in college, and so we do it to the next generation. And if we all stick around long enough and nobody quits, I get to give you a college degree. I bring this up because meetings suffer from this same kind of holdover. Over the next few minutes, I want to give you 3 reasons why you should be redesigning your meetings. With the rise of technology, our opportunities to get together are more specious and therefore should be more magical. Getting in the same room should be about harnessing the collective power of our intelligence, thinking collaboratively, being creative, and solving problems. Sadly, the word meeting has become the universal euphemism for a waste of time. After I tell you about how I broke up my meeting, or after I tell you about why you should be redesigning your meetings, I want to share with you a technique I used to break up my meeting monotony. It uses technology we all have, we all can use, and is built on best practices from in the classroom. The first reason you should be redesigning your meetings is that they give an advantage to people who process information really quickly. They also give an advantage to people who have an opinion about almost anything. I know, I tend to be that guy. Every meeting is left being dominated by Dr. Know-It-All and Professor Interjection, and the rest of us are left simply to stare at our watch or, now, play Candy Crush while we give that nod like we're paying attention. I know, I've seen the universal Candy Crush nod. It amazes me, it fascinates me to watch someone with a PhD create art on their notepad tantamount to what you would find in a 7th grade homeroom. And I am convinced that this whole adult coloring thing was created in a boring meeting with someone who wanted to color their illustrations. The second reason you should be redesigning your meetings is a bit more philosophical and psychological. I'm fascinated by the way that anticipation informs our perceptions. One of my favorite thinkers, Michael Polanyi, a Hungarian polymath and friend of Einstein, gave us this idea of interpretive frameworks. What makes us interested in something? What makes us really engage, according to Polanyi, is a gestalt intuition of a whole. In other words, the big picture makes the small stuff interesting and makes sense. Unfortunately, traditional meetings create a perception black hole where productivity never escapes. The effect of traditional meetings is, and this failure to paint a common picture, a common vision, is the misunderstanding, misinterpretation, and clanism so often prevalent at the end of meetings. And we've all been there, right? The meeting ends and everyone gets in their little groups and kind of mumbles and groans and is totally in different places. Which leads me to my third reason why you should be redesigning your meetings. In teaching, we're generally accomplishing one of 3 tasks. We're either 1, introducing new concepts that a lot of times confuse people. Number 2, we're helping people who have confused ideas clarify those ideas. Or 3, we're helping people with clear ideas apply them in new ways and think about them in new contexts. Traditional meetings hold captive the teaching and learning process to this first category. Even worse, most meetings don't even take these categories into consideration, providing meeting goers with no new information or no new ways to apply that information. You know what? Meetings are a waste of time. Let's just skip the euphemisms. I had to do something, so I repurposed an idea. For over a decade, the idea of the flipped classroom has been transforming the traditional lecture style. It's really simple. You basically record yourself beforehand, send your lecture to your students, they watch it before they come to class, and then when you get in the same room, in the class, you make it more about discussions, hands-on exercises, working together. So I thought to myself, could that work for meetings? The first time I did it, I opened up my laptop and used the webcam, recorded myself, uploaded it to YouTube, and sent the link along with an agenda to my team. And I learned two really interesting things the first time. Number one, my meeting spiel was only about 10 minutes. And that kind of makes sense to me. I've been in so many meetings where normal people pontificate and monologue way more than they should, drolling on and on and on. Recording yourself beforehand, that fixes that. The second thing that I learned is that my team wasn't looking at my face. They had minimized the video and were listening to it like a podcast. And so the second time I decided to record the audio, just an audio version. What's great is that all of us on our phones now and on our computers have great technology that's very easy to use to do this. And I highly recommend putting it in some kind of audio editing software to delete the ums and the uhs, and my personal predilection for the long aspirated pause. And apparently your breath can sound bad too. Don't be intimidated. The skills needed to do this is literally the ability to click on one side of an you drag your mouse to the other side, you let it go, and you click delete. And by the way, when you do this, you find out your meeting spiel is only 8 minutes. So I sent this out to my team along with an agenda, and for about a week, I walked my building in my college fishing for feedback. And so I came away with these really 4 cool insights. Number one, they were listening to it when they were ready. Some listened in the morning, some listened at night. But the important thing is they were engaging the content that was coming up for our meeting when they were ready to think about it. The second thing I learned is that they could do things that in traditional meetings would be perceived as distracting, disrespectful, heck, even impossible. They were doing research on their computer, pulling files, reaching into physical files, pulling that out. They were truly engaged, thinking about what we were going to meet about. The third thing I learned was that people could vet their ideas before they came to the meeting. And by the way, this is why nobody talks in meetings. This is why nobody talks. They're afraid of the stare of Dr. Know-It-All. Okay? But everybody on your team can contribute. They do have an idea, and redesigning your meetings can give everyone a chance to bring those ideas to the table. And the fourth thing that I learned is that this huge agenda that I thought we needed to get in the same room and talk about was much smaller. We solved so many of those problems without having to actually share the same space that when we got together, we could focus on what was truly important. I was recently talking to this idea with a friend, a communications director at a large government entity, and he was a little skeptical. He thought, no, I like getting agendas beforehand, and maybe a really robust agenda would work, instead of it. After talking a bit, we both came to the conclusion that it doesn't, and here's why. Let me give you an example. I create an agenda. The first agenda item is social media, followed by 2 subpoints, Facebook and Twitter. I send it to you, and you read it, and you think, yes, I love it. She always loves my Facebook post. It's going to be an amazing meeting. I can't wait to get in there. Ooh, it's going to be a great meeting. I just do such a great job. And your friend gets the same agenda and reads it and thinks, oh my goodness, I can't believe that we're going to, every time so critical, that whole Twitter debacle last week, and those 2 people come to the same room. What technical writing, even the best agenda can't provide, is the emotional context. That emotional context that's provided in the audio cast creates co-empathy, and that co-empathy translates into productivity and allows for less time getting people on the same page. And sometimes that's the emotional same page. So when we finally got together, here's how the meeting went. I started it with a question. What do you want to talk about? It was no longer my meeting. It was our meeting. Do I ever think there'll be a day when the word meeting doesn't elicit a negative response? No. I'd be naive to think otherwise. But could there be a day, will there be a day, when the word meeting can represent an opportunity to harness our collective intelligence, harness the power of our creativity, of working together, and an equitable opportunity for everyone to participate and contribute? I think so. Will recording my voice, parsed with a little bit of classical music for effect, accomplish this? I know one thing. It's a start. So try it. Try it. To break up your meeting monotony, to increase GDP, heck, to increase global happiness. Try it. Thank you.